And that is the radio show theme song that rolls around in my head all day after Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
All day.
All day.
Every
Not
day.
all day. I managed to get rid of it around noon, but noon Pacific time, that is. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Jerry Usher, along with Debbie Georgiani, Michael Birchfield, Jeff Burson, Ryan Penny. We are all here. You are there, and you are the key person. You have been for 5.5 years, and today is another opportunity for you to share a take on our topic today. Hey, Deb.
Hello there. Well, this ties in really nicely. So everybody knows that for 5.5 years, Take Two, Jerry and I, we share everything. You know, sometimes even too much. People have said, "Boy, you share everything." There's, well, what you see is what you get, and we're very real, very honest, because we feel it's necessary. This is like Mother Angelica said, this is the training ground here, and so we learn and grow together. So today's show is our monthly In the News show, which is what news has caught your eye. Now we know what the cable news networks and the mainstream media have to say about the headlines, like what's going on with the hearings and all sorts of things that's going on in the political climate and all that. But there's other news stories that are so important, and they can pertain to us as Catholic Christians, but they're missed, they're overlooked, they're never even highlighted at all, never addressed by the media. So we want to use this time wisely and have you bring those to the table so that we can be made aware. And then I want to also tie in, because I don't believe there's any accidents, Jerry, and I believe that things happen for a reason, and it's for us to learn and grow from. And I also want to share something that happened to me yesterday when I had a beautiful encounter with a listener to the show who kind of questioned my intentions of why I post certain articles on Facebook. And I wanted to share, because full disclosure, I'll tell you exactly, the intention. So we want to talk about this and see if we can walk away a little bit changed, a little bit closer to God. That's the key. So here's the number. If you have a story you want to bring to the attention of the Take Two family and the whole world, actually, please, and you don't have to be Catholic. If you have a story you want to share it at 833-288-3986.
Okay. That is the number for you to call to get on the program. Ryan Penny is at the ready. He is at the telephone station there. And at this time of every day's program, you will get right through, no waiting, at 833-288-3986 or 833-288-EWTN. And this program, the In the News show, has become very, very popular with you. It seems we always have busy phone lines. So we encourage you to call in early here. What news story, what issue, what is trending that has kind of maybe caught your eye? As Debbie said, obviously the Supreme Court hearings are going on, and we have the campaign, racing to the finish line here shortly. You can talk about those things if you want, but maybe there's something local to your area that you found buried, in the middle. If you still read, paper newspapers, I don't know how many people do, but anyway, you bring the news to our attention on this show, 833-288-3986.
And we want to thank Father John Paul Mary for doing such a wonderful job with our Inspired by Faith book and fellowship club. It was consecrated yesterday on October 13th. To Our Lady of Fatima. The book and fellowship club was, consecrated to Our Lady because we love her so very much, and we know she wants the best for her children, and we thought that the book club, it would be best under her care, and so it was officially consecrated yesterday. So thank you, Father John Paul Mary. Thank you so much. He is so supportive of our ministry, and we just love him for that. And Jerry, we got to highlight, we've got a special broadcast coming up October 20th with Father Cedric Pizzania. Wow. You guys are going to love this one. October 20th. Make sure you mark it on your calendars and on your phones to have it ding you and say, okay, there it is. I got to listen to Take Two, because this is powerful, especially if you have folks that are having some addiction problems. You have young kids that are not really on fire for the faith. I mean, it was an excellent broadcast. I'm going to listen to it a few times, actually.
Well, even if you're going through struggles right now with the way the culture's going, the pandemic still looming large over us and could could get even worse in terms of lockdowns and fewer activities and so forth. A lot of people falling into discouragement and even to despair. And I love what Father Cedric is going to say on that program. He says, do not despair, turn to prayer. So that'll be a big, important broadcast next Tuesday for you here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. But right now, what is in the news that you have paid a special attention to, has caught your eye, that has made you feel this way about it or that way about it? Give us a call. Let us know. We share on our In the News show at 833-288-3986.
Okay, so I shared that Father Cedric's coming up October 20th. I shared that our book club was consecrated. Now I have to share one other thing. So yesterday I had a wonderful listener from Take Two who I love and value. She challenged me on my intentions of my really what I thought about why I'm posting certain articles or why I repost things from National Catholic Register or Church Pop or anything that EWTN, the resources they provide. Why do I repost them without any comment? I just repost them. And so I wanted to share when we come back, Jerry, my response today, because I want our listeners to know my heart and what I really think. And you can attest to it, Jerry. You can say, yep, that's how Debbie really thinks. And we can go forward because I really believe that, time is moving very quickly and we are all called to inform and form our consciences. And it's really important that we do things well with some really solid catechesis. And so I'm a firm believer of that, as you know, Jerry. Mm-hmm. And I come from a catechetical diocese, the Diocese of Phoenix. So our Bishop Olmsted, is very big on very strong, solid catechesis.
Well, that is a blessing to your diocese and to every diocese where the bishop is very, very supportive of that. And we have seen some of the disappointing things resulting from not so great catechesis over the last few decades. So, yeah, that is an important issue there. And so look forward to hearing what you have to share after the break. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. What is in the news that you want to comment on or bring to our attention or share some thoughts about? 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. You can contact us a number of other ways as well. Email take2@EWTN.com. Post your comments on the EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can text the letters EWTN to 55000. There might be a small data rate. You can't hide from Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Let us hear from you.
This is Conversations with Consequences, where we delve deeper into issues affecting our church, our country, and our core, the family.
As Catholics, we need to be informed, aware, and able to talk through some of the tough topics that we're facing in our culture and in our world. Conversations with Consequences gives us the tools to do so.
It's not enough to pray. We have to be a light for the world.
Conversations with Consequences, this Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
In these uncertain times, Catholics depend on EWTN's National Catholic Register. The Register is so much more than a newspaper. It's your faith, your life, your source of information and spiritual resources. The Register is uplifting, redemptive journalism, interviews with Catholic leaders and newsmakers, liturgical coverage, health, financial, and political topics, and analysis of the key issues you care most about. EWTN's National Catholic Register covers every aspect of the Catholic faith that impacts your world. To get 6 free issues, order online at ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code RADIO. That's ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code RADIO. The National Catholic Register. Read faithful.
Thanks for being with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, our In the News show. Anything at all in the news, the wild, the wacky, the true, the dubious, anything that you have encountered in the news that has caught your attention. It's what we talk about on this show once a month at 833-288-3986. And by the way, just a quick program note, Vespers and Mother Angelica Answering the Call is coming up. Join the Franciscan Missionaries of the Eternal Word as they celebrate Vespers and Benediction of the Blessed Sacrament. That's every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. time on EWTN Radio Essentials, and that's followed by Mother Angelica Answering the Call, featuring calls from the best of Mother Angelica Live. That's every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio Essentials.
Wonderful. Okay, so in the news, this is our monthly In the News show. If you have a news story or article that came across your desk or popped onto your television set locally, and we maybe, didn't get a chance to hear about it, we want to now. So don't sit this out. Don't think somebody else is going to share your story. We want to hear from you, and we invite all of our first-time callers. Please, we're very, very friendly. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got to mention. Yes, I love him. Our new 15-year-old saint. I love that. Okay, we're going to talk about Carlo. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Michael, for sharing that. We have to mention that. There's a lot on social media about this wonderful beatification of Carlo Acutis. Is it Acutis? Is that how you say it? Yeah, I believe so.
I believe so, yeah.
Anyway, so please call in and share your thoughts and your feelings, and even share about social media, what's happening right now. 833-288-3986. Why I love him so much, Blessed Carlo, is because of his devotion to Eucharistic miracles. You know how he chronicled all of them. He listed all of them. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
I wish he was my son. And he brought his parents back into the faith. Isn't that amazing? Have you read his story? And partially, I guess, incorrupt. His body's incorrupt, or part of it.
Right, yeah. I've heard some details about it. Yeah, on EWTN News Nightly.
Yeah, and he's, in Italy. That always makes it that much better. Okay, so please share with us. Okay, so Jerry, if I may, I posted this morning because, as I said, one of our dear listeners to take to, she was very kind. We had a beautiful exchange on Facebook, but she questioned my intentions of why I share Catholic News Agency articles and National Catholic Register and Church Pop and other trusted sources, why I repost them, even if it's, kind of not a happy story. Why do I do that? And this is the reason, and I stand by this, and Jerry, you can attest if this is the truth. I wrote this morning. I said, yesterday, my intentions for sharing posts were challenged by an individual. I can assure all of you that my intentions are pure. So I decided to once again state the primary reason. Over 1,000 souls committed to a 6-month intense prayer and fasting effort, which commenced on July 1st and will end on January 1st, 2021. I promised to share stories and articles that would remind folks what to pray for, what to fast for, and what to praise God for. I do not disparage or make hurtful comments about anyone or anything. I do not endorse or persuade. The truth speaks for itself. I am simply sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly from trusted sources so that the 6-month group can ramp up the prayers. I would prefer, this is my preference, I would prefer that people refrain from saying anything negative in the comment section, but I really cannot control how people respond. Please know that my sincere intentions are to inform and form so that we can focus the prayer effort. I apologize if any of the posts bothered you, affected your conscience, or made you angry. Please consider jumping on board with the prayer effort. It's not too late to begin to ask God to heal this world, bring forth peace, and stop the evils that seem to be a daily occurrence these days. Strongholds are broken through prayer and fasting. I believe in the power of prayer, and I appreciate your friendship and support. Please keep me in your prayers, and I always ask God to shower abundant blessings on you and your family. Peace. And then I wrote the quote from our wonderful saint, St. Padre Pio: pray, hope, and don't worry. Worry is useless. God is merciful and will hear your prayer. So you can attest to it right now on live radio. Isn't that my intention for passing on these stories?
Definitely. Definitely, and I encourage anyone listening, if you don't already do it, follow Debbie on Facebook, become a friend of hers. I think you do a lot of great good on social media, Debbie, and something I have sort of fallen out of the habit of doing for about the last 18 months to 2 years or so. I should probably really get started back on social media, but you're very good about bringing things to our attention that I think are very, very helpful for us. So I applaud you for that.
Well, I'm a catechist at heart. I believe in solid catechesis, and I think there's a lot of, let's just face it, a lot of lame catechesis out there floating around, and people are adopting it as their own, and it's not serving them well. It's not. And it's just time for us to look at things from the church's real view of things and go to the catechism. Please, folks, get a catechism. Get a hard copy catechism in your. I have one right next to the Bible on our coffee table. And now I have Trustful Surrender. I have to admit, I have Trustful Surrender, our new book. So I have the catechism, the Bible, and Trustful Surrender in our living room. And I think it's important. The online version is great as well, Jerry. And I think it's important we get back to what the church teaches. So I think our blessed Carlo, or Carlos, is Carlos?
Carlo.
I'm sorry.
Carlo.
Carlo. It's Carlo.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Why did it's written differently on the screen? Sorry, Carlo.
Yeah, well, I wanted to double check, so I did go, but thank you for the reminder about that, Michael, our producer. All right, talking about what is in the news today that is maybe got your blood boiling a little bit. Maybe you're rejoicing about something you read or saw in the news on social media. Maybe just something of interest that you want the rest of the world, the Take Two family, to know about. Our number is toll-free. It's 833-288-3986, 833-288-EWTN. And Debbie, I don't know if you saw, there was a video going around of Senator John Cronin of Texas. He is on he's part of the hearing committee, I guess, for the Supreme Court nomination for Amy Coney Barrett. And he pointed out how he said, we, meaning all of the senators, we have all of these books and notes and things we're referring to and all of that. And he says, what all do you have that you're referring to there in your answers? And she held up a notepad. And he says, what is written on that? And she says, well, it has the United States Senate logo on it. She hadn't taken a single note. Mm-hmm. She had no books, resources, notes. She was simply going from her vast knowledge and dedication to what she does. And it got quite a chuckle out of the entire chamber, as you might imagine. But that was something that came across my attention yesterday that people might not have heard about. I encourage people to look up that video clip if they get a chance. It was quite amusing.
She is so brilliant. I was very impressed. And then, you know what else I said to my husband? I said, she's such a great listener. You can tell she really absorbs everything in. She stays present in the moment. I think you're talking about Amy, just so everybody knows, we're talking about Amy Coney Barrett and the hearings. And I'll tell you what, Jerry, it's interesting. My husband noticed that too. He goes, man, she must be a great listener. And she really is. She's very, but I know. And, I have to say this, and I'm not trying to puff up his ego, but she kind of reminds me of like Dr. David Anders. He has such, and no, I'm serious. That guy has recall. He's so smart. And the one I'm getting older, Jimmy Akin, as well, and Colin Donovan. I mean, it's just amazing the recall, how they just can go back, and I know they're using like every part of their brain. What do we use, Jerry? Like, well, you use a lot. I don't know if I use a lot anymore. I don't know. You're pretty smart. You're pretty brilliant, I think.
Well, speaking of brains, I would like to we're going to get to the calls here in a minute, but I would like to ask for prayers for my pastor who has a brain tumor, and he has had a couple of surgeries, I think, and he was at Mass on Sunday and gave us an update. He said the tumor had grown back, or had grown again, and they decided radiation versus surgery this time, and I guess he said there was like a 10% chance that the tumor was going to respond to the radiation and not only shrink, but continue to shrink. And he said he was in that 10% group, according to his surgeon. So that was the best case scenario, the best possible news. But he made light of it at Sunday at Mass, because I had asked him something before Mass, and he came by as he was leaving, processing out, and he leaned over to me and he goes, I think the part of the brain that they removed included my memory, because I forgot what you asked me to do.
Oh.
He was just being, making light of his situation, which is a very serious situation. I don't make light of anyone who has a brain tumor, but He's got such a great attitude about it, Debbie. It's just beautiful. And he's got a cousin who has a brain tumor, and they're just, please pray for them. Father Paul is his name. I forget. I think his cousin's name is Lindsay. So please, let's pray for all people who are suffering, especially with very serious ailments like that.
Absolutely. And we need to be praying. We need to ramp up the prayers for all of our priests and religious. You know, Jerry, you say it all the time on the show. It's like they have a target on their back. Could you talk about that a little bit and how important it is that we pray? I mean, when we hear about a priest making mistakes or they've fallen or something, this is not something to rejoice in. It's something we need to pray more, right, Jerry?
Yeah. You know, I've said for decades now that when a man is ordained a priest, you know, he puts on the black clerical clothes with a white little tab in the front of his neck and a big bullseye on the front of his shirt. And that goes for, you know, religious and many, you know, really all of us. When we take our faith seriously and want to, you know, dig in deep and really do work for God and get deep into prayer and so forth, we're going to come under attack. It's often said, Debbie, so beautifully that if you're not being hassled by the devil, it's a good time to reevaluate, you know, your walk with God and how close you're really trying to walk according to his ways.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for saying that. I'm taking new friends on Facebook. It's popping up it's popping up like crazy. All these friend requests. So that's nice. Thanks, you guys. After the show, I'll happily accept your friendship. Carlo Acutis, we're getting some text messages saying how old was he when he passed? 15 years old. And he was devoted to the Eucharist, and he was devoted to helping his neighbor. And he used to give away his money and his things to those that were less fortunate. He had such a heart. He was so Christ-like in his young years. I mean, for him to be like that, Jerry, wow. It reminds me of Padre Pio, because Padre Pio was like that when he was young too. I mean, these saints that at a very early age developed this real, you know, intimate, you know, understanding of God. It's incredible, isn't it, Jerry? To hear like a 7 or 8 year old have, you know, it's just incredible.
Yeah, well, God is powerfully present in all of our lives, you know, at every age, doing what he's going to do in our lives. And what I love to hear are the stories of priests. In fact, in the first book that I had published about, 11 or 12 years ago, called by name, it was the stories of 12 men who became Catholic priests. Archbishop Eldon Curtis, now I think he's Archbishop Emeritus in Omaha, he wrote that even at the age of 5, he knew at the age of 5. Father Benedict Rochelle, I think, knew at the age of 7 that he had a calling to the priesthood. So good reminder for parents, you know, kids are never too young to really hear the voice of God deep within their hearts, and let them express what they're sensing spiritually and in prayer. Let them express that.
Well, my graduate degree, my thesis was, the paper I wrote was on adolescent spirituality. And I did a study on how vocations come out of the junior high, a lot of the junior high age. So a lot of parents, we used to like pretend like we could go to sleep and then the junior high years would be over. We'd wake up and they'd be over because it's a tough time, you know, with all the hormones and everything. But actually that's where vocations can really start to surface, Jerry. Mm-hmm. So it's an important age. Mm-hmm.
All right, 833-288-3986. What is in the news that has grabbed your attention? We have Pat and Deborah and Carl coming up in just a minute. I wanted to get to a Facebook comment, EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook page, and I want to be very, very sensitive in presenting Rita's comment here. Rita, I'm sure you'll understand that. She says, "Hi, Debbie and Jerry. I belong to the parish that was recently in the news with the priest who was caught doing very inappropriate things on the altar. I'm just going to leave it at that with two females. Our parish is in shock. I want to let people know how Archbishop Gregory Amond has guided us as a church. He did not just pass this off. He took this as a real threat to our church. The altar was burned, and we now have a newly blessed parish and new altar. This was pure evil, and Archbishop Amond has been a great shepherd during this time. God bless him, as this cannot be easy for him as well. Love your show. Please pray for us at Saints Peter and Paul Parish."
And our prayers are with all of the parishioners and all of the neighbors surrounding that parish. And I actually posted that article on Facebook, and I was criticized for that, saying I shouldn't draw attention to that. I was drawing attention to the Archbishop's response. Okay, I really love that Archbishop, and he did a great job. And I think he is so pastoral in the way he is handling everybody's concerns and their fears and everything that's happening. And he addressed it. He addressed the evil, and he did the right things. So I just say, when we have our bishops that really do stand up in a strong way and do the proper things that will make God forgive us, I think we need to draw attention to that and praise those bishops, right, Jerry?
No question about that. They've got it very, very hard in so many instances, just with the abuse crisis and just trying to run a diocese, and right now trying to make decisions with COVID and opening of churches and trying to work with local governments and just and still
tough.
trying. Yeah, it's really tough. So pray for our priests, our bishops, our religious, and our lay leaders, and all of us. We all need prayers right now. A lot of things going on, but again, as Father Cedric would say, do not despair, turn to prayer. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Your calls on In the News coming up next here at 833-288-3986.
EWTN Religious Catalog is your online destination for Catholic books, DVDs, rosaries, devotionals, and every purchase directly supports EWTN's mission. Visit EWTNRC.com today.
Hey, Take Two family, it's here, and we can't wait for you to see what we've created to help you reach your highest potential in life. It's StandTallToday.com, our brand new website loaded with just the things you're looking for. Those include our team of life coaches, resources picked out just for you, our webinars, book club, and more. Whether you're struggling to find your purpose or feel like you have it pretty much figured out, let us help you today at StandTallToday.com. That's StandTallToday.com.
60 Seconds with Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen.
Our Lord worked many miracles. Here are some of the characteristics about them. First, he worked them as signs to convince men of the fact that he who came to work these miracles was the one that was promised. He never worked a miracle to amaze a multitude. He never worked a miracle to satisfy his hunger or his thirst. He never worked a miracle to obtain a living. He never received money for the things which he accomplished. He refused to convert the stones of the wilderness into bread to satisfy his own hunger, or to cause water to gush out of a rock to slake his thirst. Instead, he asked a woman to let down her bucket to give him a drink.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
Tomorrow on More to Life, the comparison game.
Are you getting caught up in the comparison game? We'll help you break free.
That's tomorrow on More to Life. Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Okay, this is your show, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani with Jerry Usher, and you are the key person here, so we need to hear from you. We want to just hear your beautiful voice. You have plenty of time to call into the show and share the news story that really caught your eye. We want to hear from you. The best way right now would be if you would pick up the phone. Oh, you don't have to pick up the phone. The phone's in your hand. Just punch in these numbers, 833-288-3986, because Ryan Penny is waiting. He loves to answer the calls. I wonder if he hears phones ringing in his sleep.
I don't know.
We should ask him. No, seriously, you know how we see numbers? We see pledge drive numbers, and I see pledge drive numbers in my head all the time.
I do too, yeah.
Yeah.
For a few weeks after a pledge drive.
Yeah, the repercussions of that. I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so you promised. Where are we going? Pat?
We're going to go to Pat first in Bethel, Connecticut, listening on the EWTN app. Hi, Pat. Welcome to Take Two and our In the News discussion.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie.
Hi there. How are
Pat.
you?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I've been watching. I'm off today. I normally take care of my granddaughter, but it's her birthday today, Sadie. So her parents took the day off to be with her. So I got a day off, and I'm able to listen to you and watch the hearings for Judge Amy Barrett. And I just wanted to comment and say what a wonderful example she is of a beautiful Catholic human being. and a wonderful example also of Catholic school education.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Pat. We were just commenting about how she's just so focused, and she's brilliant, and she's calm, and you can see the peace radiating from her. And I was so impressed. Yeah. I thought. Did you keep thinking this, Pat? I kept thinking, boy, her children are so lucky. She's a great mom.
Her children are so lucky, and her parents must be so proud.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a great husband, too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. We have to mention her husband.
She absolutely must have. Yes, yeah. Sorry, I didn't say that. Yeah.
No.
Speaking of husbands, I'd like you to add someone into your prayer. My husband Brian has a problem with addiction. He is an alcoholic who will not admit it. He's had it for several years. He is 70 years old, and he goes and he suffers from depression. Goes off his meds and then takes alcohol to supplement the meds. And that leads to binge drinking. And he is on a binge right now, and it's very upsetting for myself, of course, him and the whole family. And I'd like you please to pray for Brian.
We will certainly do that, Pat. We're very sorry to hear about that, and we will just pray that God would heal him, whatever he needs healing from. Usually, an addiction is a means of trying to escape something, some kind of pain, some kind of wound, or something like that. So that will definitely be our prayer for Brian. I just wanted to, my quick comment about Amy Coney Barrett is, again, Debbie and I referred to that senator from Texas who asked her, are you taking any notes? And she just held up a little notepad that she hadn't written a thing on. And what that makes me think about her is, and anybody for that matter, this goes for anybody, when you speak your convictions and you say what you believe is true and you were just simply trying to be forthright and upright and all of that, that comes through. That is what comes through instead of trying to, dodge, sort of, dance around the questions, dance around the issues. She has done none of that. She has just spoken her convictions. None. And I found it rather interesting, and I don't know if this has come up yet because I haven't seen the hearings in a day or two, but I believe that they were staying away from her religious faith, her Catholic faith, and I think even Joe Biden said, don't make that an issue. So I don't know if they're going to – I don't know where they're digging to find anything because they're not going to find anything, really to bring up for her, Debbie. I can't imagine. She's got a pretty good reputation.
Yeah, she's pretty pure, and I love that about her. So you picked up on that, Pat, and you were talking about being, the product of a really good Catholic education, and that's what I think is so beautiful about what we do as Catholics. Yeah, when we really can, educate, inform, form young minds, they go off to, if they really apply that like she has done, they go off to do some really great things in this world, I think, sometimes, right, Pat?
Yes, they absolutely do. I just sent a group text to 4 of my grandchildren who are on text just to ask them to watch it and see what a wonderful role model she would be for them.
Beautiful. Yeah, we're going to, and also too, Pat, I just want to let you know, as you were speaking and Jerry was commenting, we received a couple texts that the Take Two family is praying for you and Brian. You. Yep, and to really protect and to heal your family, Pat.
Thank you so much, Debbie and Jerry.
Oh,
I really appreciate it, and God bless.
Oh, God bless you too, Pat. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for your show. It's a wonderful show, and I have your book on my list of books to buy, so I will be buying that soon.
Oh, God bless you, Pat. Thank you so much. You're awesome. We love you. Thanks for the call.
You're very welcome.
Okay, good. Have a blessed day. Pat, referring to our book, Trustful Surrender, might be a good time to encourage those of you who have a loved one who is in any stage of being away from the faith, maybe on their way out of the church for a while right now, maybe sort of giving indications that they may be thinking about coming back into the church, but you are filled with discouragement and you're down about it and you're begging God and pleading God for their return to the faith. Please get a copy of our book, Trustful Surrender, Stories of Grace Amidst Crisis, from EWTN. EWTN Publishing. It's available at EWTNRC.com. And Debbie, I think it will give people hope. And we're also looking forward to being on The Good Fight this Saturday with Barbara McGuigan.
I can't wait. I love Barbara. She does such a great job, and we're going to spend an entire hour talking about the book. And by the way, Jerry, I just got my order of 10 books were delivered yesterday, and those are the books that I'm going to be giving to my friends and family members for Christmas. And no, if you're listening right now, they're not free. Okay, we do have to pay for the books as authors, so you're not. One of my friends said, "You're giving me a free book for Christmas." I said, "No, it's not free. I had to pay for it." So
Debbie's not a cheapskate, you guys.
Exactly. And can we wish our dear friend John, he listens to the show all the time. Today is John's birthday. And I just want to say, John, have a happy birthday. You know, may all your dreams, wishes, everything come true. You're a great soul. You're a great dad, a great husband, and you love your faith. He's a 4th degree Knight of Columbus. Yeah.
Great.
Beautiful. And during the Rosary Month, you know, the Knights really do so much to promote Rosary Month, which is great. Okay, thank you again, Pat. And we're moving to Deborah. And Deborah is in Louisiana on Christ Our King Radio. Hi, Deborah. Thanks for waiting and welcome.
Oh, thank you. You guys are so great. I just love you. What's bothering me today is I live in Youngsville, Louisiana, which is right by Lafayette, and over in Pearl River, Louisiana, something really drastic happened, and a priest was caught with 2 women. A parishioner saw it through the window, and they were doing things that are like unmentionable. And on the altar, and the bishop took the altar out and put a new one in. And what bothers me is that I have friends who were Catholic. I guess they're still Catholic, but they won't come to church because of things like this. And I just don't understand. And I want them to come back to the faith. But things like this just push them far away. And I just want to have prayers for my friends that things like this, that put more things on the wall. This is why I'm not going to go back to the Catholic Church. You understand?
We hear the pain. We understand it very well. We encounter it all the time, Deborah, in ministry. People get really, hurt by things they see in the church, and they turn their back immediately. And what we need to do, and this is why Jerry and I are so passionate about it, is to really catechize and speak the truth with charity and clarity so that people understand things. Evil is going to show itself through actions, through bad choices, through sick souls, through demented, actions and all sorts of things. It's going to happen because Satan wants to bring down what is good and what is holy. And so he's not attacking things that he knows that are in his camp. He is attacking what is the truth, and the truth has a name, and it's Jesus. And so he's attacking right at the heart of that. And so what we get to do, Deborah, is to help other souls understand that what Archbishop Amen did was exactly correct. For him to acknowledge that it was wrong, acknowledge the evil, source of it, and to burn the altar, to reconsecrate the church, to be there, to pastorally help everybody process through. As vile and as disgusting and as horrible as the act and the decisions that were made that day to your church and the community, the way the Archbishop responded was so amazingly spot on, and it was perfect for all of us to realize how evil works and how evil shows itself. And I'm not saying that any person is evil, but the actions are very, they're not right. Okay. And we need to pray for that. Yeah. Pray for that priest and pray for those two very confused souls that participated in those horrible actions using the house of God. And, people talk about righteous indignation. Okay. When Jesus, in the outer courts of the temple, when he, turned over the tables of the money changers. Why did he do that? Because it was defiling the house of God. It was coming into the house of God, which is to remain pure, okay, and there's supposed to be a high amount of reverence. He was not going to let that happen. That is righteous indignation. So we have every right to be upset by this, and to be concerned and to want things done. And thank goodness the Archbishop did exactly what needed to be done. So I think there's a real understanding through all this we can come to, and a lesson we can learn, and to ramp up prayers more for our priests and for other people, and to also protect the house of God. So that's my take on it anyway. Deborah, what do you think, Jerry?
Well, I want a quick question for you, Deborah. First, I have some thoughts on this. Did you say you're no longer going to be a practicing Catholic, or just go to that church? Or
No, I don't go to that church. I live in the state of Louisiana. No, I am not. I am Catholic, and I practice it. I'm very devoted. I have friends and family who, because of these actions, that's why they say they don't want to go back to church. Because of all what the priest did to the young boys and this. And it just breaks my heart, because those souls need to come back to Jesus. Yeah. And I don't want them to be lost. Right. And this morning I decided that I'm going to pray harder for my family and for my friends, the ones that are falling away or have left. It just broke my heart.
Right. You can hear me sigh, Deborah. There are words, and then sometimes there are no words. And what we sometimes unfortunately fail to realize and recognize is there is fallout from actions like this. All of the attention gets focused on this young, deranged priest who did this, and these two women that did this with him. And we forget about the people that you're talking about, your loved ones who, because of this, are being driven away from the church and ultimately driven away from Christ. And we know, ultimately speaking, there is no objective good reason to ever walk away from Christ. But that depends a lot on a person's, depth of formation in the faith and the catechesis they have received and so forth. And we know also that there are what the church calls mitigating circumstances. I think God is going to have, He's going to show a tremendous amount of mercy. I'm not saying that these people are right for walking away, but because of the circumstances involved, God is going to look at the scandal that has been created and the shock that these people have experienced, and God is going to take that into account. Okay, I'm not going to judge the state of their souls if they do or do not come back to the faith. But I'm just reminded we have to keep a few things in mind about the nature of the priesthood. I was in the seminary. I studied 6 years in formation for the priesthood. I learned a lot about the objective reality of who and what a priest is. And one book that I read, which really, literally, almost led me to leave the seminary before I did leave formation. It's called The Dignity and Duties of the Priest by St. Alphonsus Liguori. I would want to encourage everybody to read that, but it's a very heavy and at times a very scary book in the sense that, first of all, according to the title, St. Alphonsus lays out the dignity of the priesthood and how sublime that vocation is, and it's the highest objective calling, and God gives the graces necessary to every man to fulfill that vocation if they remain close to him in prayer. The second part of the book, the duties of the priest, he talks about how very, very dangerous it is for priests to commit even venial sins. And he quotes St. Denis, who said something to the effect of, if you or I as lay people, if we commit a certain sin, it's like stumbling down and scraping our knee. And if a priest commits the same sin, it's like falling from a 10-story building. It is fatal. We have to understand this about our priests. They are really in a precarious position unless they are praying daily and regularly and steeped in prayer and the sacraments and the rosary and devotion to Mary and all of those things, which, God willing, all of our priests are. I know I'm going on and on about this, but this priest obviously had some underlying issues that probably should have kept him from getting through the seminary formation process in the first place. But it happened. It has happened now, and it's a sad, tragic, horrible thing, especially for these people who are leaving the church because of it. But we also must pray, redouble our prayers for our priests, because at any moment Satan could shoot at that bullseye that we talked about earlier that is on their chest, and we need to, what does the Bible say? Strike the shepherd and the sheep will be scattered.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what's happening in so many cases. So I'm going to stop with that, I guess.
Jerry, that was excellent. What do you think, Deborah, what Jerry shared?
Oh, yeah, that was right on. Both of you were right on. And like I said, it just reinforced that I'm not doing enough in prayer for my family and for my friends. And God just laid it on my heart this morning when I heard what happened. And I just have to dig in and dig hard, because I don't want my lost ones not to be in heaven with me. I just don't.
Right. But Deborah, we just, as you know, we just wrote a book about this, compiled 11 real life stories. We do the next right thing. We pray, fasting. And, fasting is remarkable. It is amazing how fasting really helps. And we do what we can do, and then we rest. We don't let it rob us of our peace and our joy, because it's in God's timing and God's plan. And we saw that through all these stories, and we've seen it over so many lives of the saints talk about it. So we just want you to be at peace. For you to have that, kind of feeling of, I got to pray more. Absolutely. That's why I posted what I posted today on my Facebook page. Same thing. I feel so strongly about that. And if we would commit to if everybody would commit to 30 minutes, an hour of prayer a day, we would see these things start to shift in God's, get more in God's favor, as opposed to seeing all of these evils on a daily basis, because remember, with us not going to church on a regular basis and receiving the sacraments and receiving the Eucharist, there is naturally this void of graces that's happening, because those graces come to us and through us into the world, into the body of Christ. And so there's a lack of that. And so what happens? We're seeing evil pop up everywhere. And so it's so important we get back to knowing what is, the true, what we can do as a source of power. And let me tell you, as Padre Pio always says, Deborah, bring out the rosary. It's the best weapon, the rosary, the rosary, the rosary. And in this month of October, perfect time. So, Deborah, thank you so much. We hear your heart, and we're right with you, and we just love you to pieces, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, we'll be praying for you too, Deborah. Thank you for the call. We appreciate it very much. And yeah, at the end of the day, what this priest and these two women did is pure evil. It is absolutely inspired by Satan. And, again, in many ways we're scandalized, and in a lot of other ways, I've heard it said one time, Debbie, the amazing thing is not that the small, tiny number of priests commit things like this, but that more don't. And what I mean by that is simply the assault of the enemy. I'm not saying because they're bad men. I'm saying, but some people, one person once, described it that way. He said, maybe the wonder is that not a tiny number of priests do it, but the more don't fall, because they are constantly under attack. We need to be holding them up like the Israelites holding up Moses' arms in the Old Testament. Absolutely. They were winning the battle when his arms were raised. We need to hold up our priests in prayer just the same way.
And tomorrow's our urgent prayer request show. So it's a perfect time for us to start putting that into practice. And Jerry, I know you're going to bring to our attention something that is important on EWTN Publishing, but I just wanted to say real quickly, Facebook, Vicky posted this: pray for the passing of Proposition 115 in Colorado. It will prohibit abortion after 22 weeks gestation. And then she wrote, we now have abortion legal through all 9 months for any reason. we will pray, Vicky. We will pray that passes. Abortion being the preeminent issue, it is so important, and it starts from there. As I look at all the writings of Saint Teresa of Calcutta. If anybody wants to see, everybody loved Mother Teresa. Go back to her prayer breakfast talk that she gave. It really will change the way you think about things sometimes.
That's right. Evil is nothing new in the world, to be sure. And from EWTN Publishing, I want to alert you to a brand new book, A Crisis in Culture, How Secularism is Becoming a Religion. It is by the very well-known and popular Father George Rutler. He talks about why the Catholic faith is the only means by which salvation can be restored, what happens when we let the government rather than the church become our mother, why after so much slow disintegration we're still waiting for true renewal in the church, and so much more. Buy Catholic, shop Catholic at EWTNRC.com. Father George Rutler's book, A Crisis in Culture, How Secularism is Becoming a Religion.
Oh, I just want to say our dear friend Donna Marie Cooper O'Boyle, I love her. She just sent me a beautiful affirming text on Facebook. Thank you. I love your work, Donna. You're amazing. Okay. Okay, Doug, we have 2 minutes. You have to go really quickly. Detroit, Michigan, a Sirius XM 130 is the way you're listening. Sorry, Doug, we're going to run out of time, but we wanted to get you on the program.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I don't think it's that good priests become bad priests. I think it's people that maybe misunderstand themselves and the priesthood, and they're bad actors from the outset. They slip through the seminary and fool everybody. So, in any walk of life, if it's police officers, if it's teachers, if it's doctors, anybody, if you see a bad one and it shames your hospital or shames your office, you don't quit. But because you can't, it's an income, and you can't quit the church either because it's prayers, and that's the currency. And I wouldn't think about quitting the church because of anything that might be damaging to a sibling or a best friend. It's the priest. That priest was like that when he came into the church in the seminary. He didn't get that way after he came in.
Well, yeah, that's something that I alluded to, Doug, a little bit ago, and that is he somehow got through the formation program. I've been in, I spent 6 years in formation for the priesthood, and I saw a lot of men who it wasn't my judgment to make, but I saw some weaknesses that I thought maybe could be problems down the road for them. And, I saw, some of the holes in the formation. I mean, it's not a perfect undertaking, but maybe the screws need to be tightened a little bit more. But I would say that, to go to this length, I mean, maybe this man entered the priesthood, Debbie, with these proclivities already. We don't know that, but certainly one can turn in these directions after being ordained, especially after being ordained, because they're in such a lofty place, as I was talking about before. And if they stop praying and stop, exercising their devotions, this is going to happen. Not necessarily this, but falling away, becoming lukewarm, betraying the faith, and so forth can easily happen if they do not maintain their prayer life.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Doug. And remember, folks, that Satan finds the cracks. He finds that opening. And, maybe this is a perfect time to ask Blessed Carlo Acutis to be with us. He was so passionate about the Eucharist, and that's our source and sum of our faith. That's what the devil wants to attack. So let's ask Blessed Carlo to help us through all this. Jerry, tomorrow is our urgent prayer request show.
Yeah, if you've got a very serious and immediate prayer intention, and there are many of them, that we offer that show once a month along with our Whom or What Are You Praying For show. So join us tomorrow. Let the entire world get into prayer for whatever's important to you.
So until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day. We'll see you real soon.